Hey family, welcome to the Finance for Families podcast, the show that turns everyday money talk into family building power. Get comfortable because your journey to stronger family finances starts now. Have you ever sat down as a family, mapped out your financial goals, felt super inspired, only to find yourself completely off track just a few months or sometimes even weeks later? Maybe it was that unexpected school trip that the school is making you pay for, or there's an honest, genuine family emergency, or it's just the temptation of that mid-month sale for something that you always wanted for your house, and it's promised, it's a limited time only offer. And then suddenly, the money that you had decided we are putting this aside for our savings or for that home project is gone. And you're wondering, how did we get here? You're not alone. In fact, this is one of the most common struggles from both individuals and families that I coach. So in today's episode, we're going to look at the distractions dilemma. What gets us off track? And more importantly, how do we stay the course even when life is throwing curveballs? Let's get into it. I'm your host, Linda Mark. I like to think of myself as that fire that is igniting those much needed family conversations on finances. This week, we are going to look at the real stuff. The distractions. In episode 1, we talked about casting a strong family vision. In episode 2, it was all about turning that vision into a clear, actionable plan. But today, consider this episode as your reality check. Because let's face it, no matter how good the plan is, life will test it. So how do we stay focused when life is busy throwing us the bills, the emergencies, or even when well-meaning friends and family try to knock us off track? If you're like me and you've ever said, we were doing so well, until A happened, until X did this, then this one's for you. Because let's be honest, distractions are part of life. You and your spouse, maybe you finally agreed on a savings plan for your family holiday. You were consistent for like 3 or so months. And school decides they're going to organize an away from home school activity, and it's at your expense as the parent, or maybe someone falls sick and everyone has to come together and contribute. Or maybe worse, you've been invited to a harambe, you decide to go for it with a little amount of money that you had budgeted for. But when you get there, you find yourself being roped into pledging more than you had budgeted for just to avoid shame. These are real relatable moments that shake even the most focused families. What we got to always remember is that even when life is busy throwing these curveballs, every step back is just a setup for a stronger, wiser comeback on that journey of yours. Some of these usual suspects that love to sneak in and derail even the best laid financial plans. I want us to just name a few. One is those unexpected expenses. The type, of course, the medical emergencies, you never know, the sudden school trips, or maybe now your family car has decided it's had enough and it breaks down. These are some of the things that, you've not really planned for, but they come to you very fast and hard. And suddenly your savings plan is all shaky and you're thrown off track. Then there's peer pressure. Lifestyle inflation is real. Sometimes it's very subtle. Your friends are doing those brunches every other weekend, or maybe your family is organizing these get-togethers and you're all dressing in themes. You're supposed to come in floral, and you then have to go and start shopping for your whole family, or your best friend or your cousin has upgraded their phone and suddenly yours feels like there's something wrong with it, and before you know it, you're spending more than you should. The other distraction is communication. So this is usually very quiet because it could be one partner who's very good at tracking and making budgets and all that, and the other one is just like, let's enjoy life, the maisha ni ya sasa, and you find yourself not on the same page, and small things lead to big frustrations and missed goals, and you are not able now to sit and actually even just have like a nice decent conversation and trying to figure out where to go, and then you find yourself getting distracted. Another distraction I find, which we rarely think about, is boredom. For me, sometimes when you think about long-term goals, most people complain. They can feel so slow. You're trying to save for this something that feels like it's so far, and you are trying to do all the things right, but there's no excitement in it, And then you reach the point where now you start abandoning that plan for something that gives you like quicker rewards. And of course, that instant gratification, the urge to upgrade, the urge to buy shiny things instead of waiting for tomorrow. Why can't I have it now? And anyway, I can buy now or pay later. All those things, when you start thinking about them, you realize actually distractions. You feel like you're swimming against the tide. And every time we give in, it chips away from our bigger dreams. Yeah. And this is a thing. These distractions, they feel urgent. They need your attention right now. But urgent doesn't always mean important. Again, urgent doesn't always mean important. All right, let's take a quick pause and then dive right back into today's money conversation. So, how do you know distractions have crept in and quietly hijacking your financial goals? There are those telltale signs that we have. One, for me, is there's no regular check-ins. Now you're just basically flying blind. You're not sitting down, you're not doing budget reviews, you're not finding out, so how are we doing? And I always think of it like you're trying to drive like at night with your headlights off. So you're moving, yes, but you have no idea where you're headed. You're not able to see any obstacles that are in front of you. Second is you find yourself fighting a lot about money. The tension is building up. It could be those eye rolls, those passive-aggressive comments, or maybe it's loud and this full-blown argument over either spending or saving or any unmet expectations. Either way, it's a sign that something is off and you're not aligned anymore. Another is your spending gets very fuzzy. You look back at last month's income and you're wondering, where did it all go? I thought we had a plan, but somehow the money has disappeared, and now you're left with more confusion than clarity, and your spending feels like it's a mystery show, and that's a really big red flag. Now, listen, if any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Life gets busy, distractions are sneaky, and even the most financially focused families get off track sometimes. But here's the good news: awareness is the first win. Once you see the signs of these distractions, you can shift the story, because it's absolutely possible to realign and move forward with your family financial goals. And this time you're going to be stronger and smarter than before. My first tip on how to deal with these distractions: don't panic, press pause. Yeah? Don't beat yourself up. This isn't about blaming anyone. Take a moment to just pause and acknowledge where you are. Even the best drivers take the wrong turn sometimes. What matters is you realized it and you can go back on the right path. Second will be revisiting your why. Go to your family's reason. Why did we set these financial goals? Was it for us to go out for that dream vacation? Is it for that home that we want? Is it for our kids? Getting you back to reconnect to that bigger purpose reignites the motivation, and it helps you to filter out what does not align. Think of what will be a constant reminder, not annoying, something that you can place somewhere where you always have access to. It could be a picture somewhere you can easily see, or just constantly reminding each other why are we doing this. And I'll tell you an example. For me and the mister were talking about the university fees for our kids. So our eldest is already 14. And I know I kept on saying we will blink like this and we'll be doing university selections with her. So we need to be ready. So we shared how, what can we do to keep reminding ourselves of what's coming in terms of university fees. And so to engage her, we started talking to her, what she's considering doing so that we can explore that. And I said, you know what? Let's try and get her like that uni hoodie. Yeah. So every time she's sporting it, she's enjoying wearing it and all that stuff. And us, it's a constant reminder that there's school fees coming, there's uni fees coming. So that becomes our bigger picture. So you could try something like that. It's just something that for you and your partner, you and your husband, you and your family, you'd be able to always see it and remember this is for us. It doesn't have to have meaning for everyone else, but for you, every time you see it, it centers you back to your why. I think as well, it's also important to schedule a money check-in, put it down on your calendar. Just keep you and your husband, you and your partner, you and your family on track. You get to sit and decide what is it we're doing, where we are, what do we need to adjust. It doesn't need to be very long, but try and do it consistently, because of course, I keep saying consistency matters more than perfection. You don't have to fix everything once. Choose one and then focus on it, do it, and then now next time try and fix something else. And also you create those small wins, but those small wins over time give you that momentum to keep going. Another thing I found useful is to create boundaries around the distractions, where you're able to say no, not now, to the social pressures. So you find yourself protecting your goal. You don't have to explain things to everyone. Just remember, it can just be no for now, or it can be no forever. Yeah? But it is your no, and you are the one who needs to understand why you're saying no now or no forever. It's also good to take time and recognize that where you've come and where you are going. Every time you course correct, you are growing. You're getting stronger as a unit, as a family. So just show up. Let's embrace ways to celebrate progress, not perfection. So as we wrap up today's conversation, here's the truth I want you to carry with you. You will fall off track sometimes, and that's okay. The goal was never perfection. It's about learning to recognize these distractions and getting back on track faster. I always think of this quote: discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want the most. It's simple, but very powerful. Talk about it with your family. Reflect on what, for you as a unit, what does most look like for you? That conversation can shift your entire outlook. Thanks for spending time with me today. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone you care about, and let's keep building financially confident families, one honest conversation at a time. Stay focused, stay grounded, and keep showing up for your goals and for your families. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Finance for Families podcast. I'm Linda Makatiani. Grateful as always to be part of your family's financial journey. If you found value in today's episode, show some love by subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing it with your loved ones and other families. Here at Finance for Families, we believe every family has the power to build wealth, one honest conversation at a time. Until next time, keep talking money, keep growing together, and keep building your family legacy.